Hey, everybody. This is Professor Emily Cochran, and I'm your instructor for this Foundations of Christian Theology course for Concordia Irvine. This program is going to be an intensive class, which you already knew, but do keep track of all of the due dates and assignments and the pacing of each week. Do please be very diligent to keep on top of that because it does have a tendency to get on top of you if you don't keep up with it. Each week will be the same in terms of expectations and assignments, discussion board posts, that sort of thing, except for the final week of the course. That'll be slightly different. That will include your final exam, which will be comprised of an essay component and some quiz components, but more to that later. As for what you'll need for this course, you will need a Bible. I'm a big fan of the English Standard Version. There's other versions out there. You will also need Called to Believe, edited by Reverend Dr. Stephen Mueller. And you will also need The Case for Christ by Lee Strobel. Strobel's work is really interesting in particular because it's not an apologetics book that kind of appeals to merely appealing to authority or appealing to some religious experience or something like that, because Strobel was himself a skeptic and eventually kind of went out almost to not necessarily outright disprove Christianity, but just to investigate a little bit more after his wife converted to Christianity. And he ends up finding that all of this evidence really does actually, check out. So really, really interesting work. I hope you enjoy it if you haven't read it yet. As for the course requirements themselves, please do see the syllabus for what we're going to do each week. Do click the Start Here, big Start Here button on the first page of the course. Examine each line item there, especially for the Google Docs protocol for submitting essays. Some of you might be really familiar with this, some of you might not. Do please, after you click the Start Here at the beginning of the course, do pay special attention to the Google Docs requirement for writing your essays and submitting them. All essays must be written on each essay must be written on its own special Google Docs document. All the instructions are there. After you click Start Here and scroll down to those instructions, all of those should be waiting for you. If there's any questions about that, please let me know. The purpose for my implementing that particular protocol this year, last term, is because, of course, the increase of artificial intelligence usage when it comes to composing papers. Now, AI is everywhere. I get it. I'm not naive to that. However, in courses like this, you do need to be able to write your own material. I am strongly opposed, and in fact, do not allow generative AI usage in the composition of your essays, or for that matter, your discussion board posts. That comes up sometimes too. So absolutely no AI is allowed. I do reserve the right to ask students about their writing process or for them to yield any notes or outlines that they might have in their essay writing process. That's just because I am such a stalwart opponent of generative AI usage in this kind of course. I understand that it's everywhere. I understand that it's in all sorts of student aids for writing papers and that sort of thing. However, it's not allowed in this course. You have to be able to think clearly to be a nurse. No surprise there. But also, in order to think clearly, you ought to be able to write clearly as well. And I know it might be a challenge. I know you might have used other programs to assist your writing in other classes, or maybe you haven't. Maybe you're like, yes, I know, I can write already. Thanks. If that's the case, good for you. Then I'm not talking to you. But to prevent AI usage or to enforce the policy of absolutely no generative AI usage, every student must write their essays, their weekly foundations reflection, and theology essays in a Google Docs document. Again, all of the instructions for that process are under the Start Here button. And if you scroll down to the instructions about how to submit your essays. What else? Every single Every single week, like I said before, is the same. You're going to have a certain amount of readings. You're going to have a certain amount of, you're going to have videos to watch. You're going to have lectures by Dr. Brighton to watch as well. That'll all be listed for you on Canvas. It'll all be out there available for you. You are going to have to submit a discussion board thread by each Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. and respond to a classmate's thread by 11:59 p.m. each Friday. That's the minimum requirement. You also have a content quiz. Those will open up on Fridays at 12:01 a.m. and they will close on Sundays at 11:59 p.m. I used to have them open only on Saturdays and Sundays, but then enough students wrote in saying that they could use an extra day that they now open up on Friday, 12:01 a.m., close 11:59 p.m. each Sunday. There's no making up these quizzes. There is no retakes, or there are no retakes, and there are no extra credit opportunities if you miss a quiz. So do please keep on top of those things. You also have a reading content, well, not a content quiz, but an honor system quiz telling me how much of the material that you read. You'll see those each week. Just say that you read some of the material, most of the material, all of the material, none of the material, just be honest. What else? You also have, as I mentioned, your theology essay and your foundations reflections. The prompts for those will be listed each week. They should be pretty easy to find. Again, everything has to be written according to the Google Docs protocol listed under that click here, or I'm sorry, start here button. What else? Am I missing anything? The final week of the course will be different because of the final exam. The final exam is not accessible before the final week of the course. There has to be some degree of spontaneity to your final exam in order for it to actually be a final exam. So no, you can't access it before. But if you are keeping up with the readings, you are keeping up with the discussion, you are keeping up with the assignments, all of that, you really should be fine. I don't see any reason why anybody shouldn't do very well on that. That's all I can think of at the moment with regards to the course in general. A little bit about me. I have degrees in history and philosophy and theology. So a bit of a jack of all trades, I suppose. I am a married mom of 7. Currently pregnant with number 7, actually. So, yeah, I wear a lot of hats. We homeschool. It's a good time. I'm always busy, but that's okay. It's always busy with good things. So, if you have any questions about anything theological or otherwise, be sure to let me know, or any questions about how the course is executed in general. Each module opens up at 12:01 on Monday morning of each week. So there is a degree to which you have to keep up week by week. You can't just work ahead all 7 weeks, take all the quizzes, do all the discussions, take the final exam, all that, and then kick back for the rest of the course. You do have to do this. You do have to do this in time, in pacing with the course. If there's anything else anybody can think of, be sure to let me know. And yeah, welcome to your Foundations of Christian Theology course.